Welcome to the final unit of Pentecostal explorations of the New Testament when we're going to be looking at John's Apocalypse. The word revelation comes from the Greek word apocalypse, which simply means an unveiling. And we're going to be looking at what exactly it is that John is unveiling through this series of over 60 visions that overlap, recapitulate, and interact with one another in very dramatic ways. Well, luckily, we have a world-renowned apocalypse scholar on our faculty to help us through this process, Dr. Chris Thomas. In fact, Dr. Thomas has recently published about a 1,000-page commentary on the book of Revelation. So to say he is an authority on the subject is certainly an understatement. You'll be viewing his lecture this week, and you'll also be reading the final chapter from the Donaldson text in preparation for the shorter reflection essay that you're going to be writing. As you prepare for the reflection essay, I really want you to come to Dr. Thomas and come to Donaldson with a particular lens. And that lens is the four distinct ways that various groups of Christians have chosen to interpret the book of Revelation. The first way we might call an idealistic view. And that is, some Christians see Revelation as purely metaphorical. It's a poetic treatment, a poetic illustration of the ongoing struggle between good and evil. Before you dismiss that view outright, I think you would agree with me that that struggle is definitely depicted, and it's depicted artistically, and it's depicted poetically through this series of visions and images. So there may be more than meets the eye to the idealistic view. The second view is often called preterism, and this takes a purely historical view of the book of Revelation in its first century context, choosing to see the images and visions of Revelation as depicting the struggle of the early church with the Roman Empire. Certainly there's no getting around the fact that Revelation has a lot to say about that struggle with Rome's empire. The third view was the view, interestingly, of the Protestant reformers. And that might be called a historical view, a view of Revelation that sees the document charting through the various epochs and ages that the church will move through en route to the second coming of Christ. So it won't surprise you to see that reformers such as Martin Luther thought that the beast in Revelation represented the papacy, and many Christians today continue to read Revelation in through those lenses. And last, the view that our theological camp is typically the most familiar with might be called a futuristic view. And this view was adopted by a writer in the 19th century named John Darby, who created a schema through which to understand the Scripture called dispensationalism. And I think as you read Donaldson and hear Dr. Thomas, you'll probably become alerted to the sense in which dispensationalism has affected your default view of Revelation, and perhaps our material this week will even push back on that a little bit. So I look forward to a great unit together discussing Revelation. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me. God bless. Have a great week.